We quad rallied. That's 4 freaking rallies on a 132 million power player in Call of Dragons. And it was a disaster. Oh my God, please learn from this absolutely insane set of rallies. Because, yeah, you don't rally players that are that high power. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today I'm going to show you a quad rally on a player that is 132 million power at the time of the rallies. Now, we have had the honor of battling against the Dragon family for the last several pass openings in this season, and I'm very much looking forward to being allied with them in future seasons, especially if, you know, kingdoms do need to start to operate more like a traditional sort of a kingdom rather than a sort of alliance solo group. All that to say, at the end of all the fighting in Zone 3, we rallied this player with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 rallies. Now, there's some weirdness to rallying a high power player in Call of Dragons, but let me just fast forward to the action itself, because I was also streaming a pass opening in Rise of Kingdoms at the same time, which was a little nuts. So we'll jump right to the craziness. And, oh my God. Okay, chat, here it is. First rally rolls up. This is going to be a Kanara with Hosk. Second rally's also on its way from Funky. That looks like it's also Kanara Hosk. Then 2 more rallies roll in with Mages. Lily Velen, and I think Lily Hosk. Now, my understanding is that the meta rally for hitting a city is actually Bakshi with Emrys. Bakshi Emrys is my understanding of the best rally to use, but in hindsight, we should have used a tank rally with infantry, and then had high damage rallies hitting. The defense here is a Nico with Hosk, and those are interesting choices as well. We'll jump in game to get a closer look at that and what sort of about those choices I think were good. But the Nico in this instance does elevate his own counterattack, as does the Hosk elevate the critical strike chance for counterattack. So it gets just a little bit out of hand with the amount of damage they can deal. Plus, people said that the artifact for defending your city was bad. Well, it turns out that if you're 132 million power, if you have a maxed out artifact, the Deepwood Symphony, designed for defending your city or for garrisoning mixed troops, yeah, it turns out that that's really, really, really powerful. Now, I don't know if it's insanely powerful compared to other options, because that's not how we ran this experiment where we trade so negatively. but he used it, and it's powerful, and I'll show you that in the report in just a minute here. So this is a quad rally. The rallies are getting reinforced, but this city is not breaking, bro. I mean, this city, it's just crushing, okay? And the reason it's crushing, and you could see this immediately, is because of the ratio of Sev wounds for the city versus the ralliers. You see, the ralliers in Call of Dragons take 50% dead and 50% hospital, whereas the defenders take 10% dead and 90% hospital. They are so advantaged. So not only are they high power with full T5 troops, but defenders are just generally very advantaged. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, do me a huge favor, throw a like on here and consider subscribing to the channel. And do me the favor of a pity like on the video for what you're about to see in the reports I'll show you. I have 2 of them, and I don't know if I even want to see the other 2. It's like really, really kind of painful here. So there were a number of red flags where it was like, hey, we probably shouldn't rally this city. First of all, they were online. Probably shouldn't rally an online player. Second of all, they're over 100 million power. Probably shouldn't rally anyone over 100 million power in Season 1 unless they are offline, have a bad garrison. You are going to get decimated, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a second with probably, I mean, has to be the worst report I've ever seen in Call of Dragons. Not that I've seen that many reports for Call of Dragons. And the thing is that, like, hey, people just wanted to have some fun. They were super thirsty after all the fighting was wrapped up. They wanted to rally a city, so, I mean, they did. And, you know, hopefully we've learned that this is not something you want to do, okay? There were some other red flags as well that would signal like, hey, probably don't rally this player, like, you know, not using meta rallies, but whatever. here we are. Rally's done. Canceled, which is the worst thing. Dude, they're only down to 126 million power, bro. Oh, yeah, this guy trained like 20 million power to take the rallies, by the way. He was like 110 million power, and then he like healed or trained up to 132. Like it was really nuts. Interesting choices were made here. Let's look at the report, okay? And I'll show you exactly what this looked like. By the way, his total deads over here are now at 136,000. So he gained like 90,000 dead troops from all the rallies. Here's the report from Trauma. 298,000 dead to 28,000 dead. I mean, a 10-for-1 trade. That's a disaster. It's objectively an absolutely disaster of a trade. And, you know, unlike in Rise of Kingdoms, where you have like a hospital capacity and then the hospital overflows and the defending player gets wrecked, the way you wreck a defending player here is that you have to take them. You have to take them to really low health. And at very low health, their trade starts to get really, really bad. But because we had to cancel with this player is still at like 80% of health, like, bro, that report is so brutal. Yeah, let me show you the other one. This is the report from Drex Snow in BDK. 162,000 to 20,000 is still really brutal, bro. Like, it's really not where you want to be on a trade. It's a bit of a yikes. And I did record, again, I did this while I was streaming, you know, so I'm like recording on my iPad while streaming this huge pass opening in Rise of Kingdoms. But I wanted to just show you, it is a level 40 maxed out Deepwood Symphony. And that has some powerful effects. It could do a healing effect. It could do a hit point effect. It could do a debuff clearing effect. And it's also giving stats for all troop types, which is critical for a city defense. And they also have a maxed out Nico and a maxed out Hosk. And as you can see, I mean, even though the rallies had more stats, when you have the amount of T5 troops I'm about to show you, like, it just doesn't even matter. 1.6 million T5 archers, 2 million T5 longleaf treants, also 1.9 million of the ironbark treants. Was I saying million before? I hope I was. Anyways, it's nuts, dude. Their city was extremely well defended. So kudos to them on running a very successful defense. And big props to the people who went into this rally and gave it a shot. But now we know, don't ever do that, bro. Now let me show you in game the things we can learn from this. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is that Nico Hosk combo. Like, is that a meta city defense combo? And I would say probably not. However, even though he has only 3 skills relevant for fighting other players, one of them is engineering, this 4th skill over here is really good. Increases the counterattack damage dealt by 20% for 5 seconds, triggers once every 7 seconds, and it happens when you cast rage skills. So elevating your counterattack is obviously very, very, very good, and is a solid take. And in addition, here's Hosk, as I was describing earlier. After your Legion receives a buff effect, your normal attack crit rate is increased, as is their counterattack crit rate. So this is doing a lot of white number damage to all the rallies that we're hitting, even though I would generally have not thought that Hosk would be a really great choice. It seemed to work out really, really, really well. And as far as the talents go for Nico, for a city defense like that, you would just need to pick things that work in all situations. I assume you go into the precision tree to take that rally to boost your normal attack damage. Maybe you can boost your counterattack damage somewhere in here as well. Like, I actually don't even think there's a particularly good talent tree for this. And many people don't know that normal attack and counterattack in this game are 2 different ideas. Let me explain. In Rise of Kingdoms, normal attack boosts do 2 things. They boost the damage you deal directly to the enemy you're targeting, and they boost the damage you deal to anyone hitting you. But in this game, normal attack refers only to the damage you deal to the target you're directly hitting. It does not boost your counterattack as well. So people think that by going into the precision tree, you're actually boosting your, sort of counterattack capabilities. But in this game, it turns out that they're 2 separate ideas, counterattack and normal attack. So I like that separation of these ideas, but I don't even know that there's like a particularly great talent set to pick here. Now, I haven't tested that myself to confirm, but I chatted with support and that's what they told me. So I would assume that's true. And in terms of the artifact, the Deepwood Symphony, I can show you that right over here. I have that. That's the buff, I suppose, the Deepwood Symphony. The item is called the Breath of the Forest. So it's the Breath of the Forest with the Deepwood Symphony buff. All right, there we go. When you're the garrison or captain of a city or stronghold, you get one of these effects every 30 seconds. But importantly, you can get an upwards of 22% defense for all troop types and 24% garrisoned army attack for all troop types, which is a really big deal. That's a lot of stats. I mean, just think about it. You've got all the different troop types in there, so when you're defending your city, I can see how that would be very good compared to other items that you could be using. I mean, sure. It gives you a ton of stats and other effects, and you'll notice that most other items will do, like, for example, this Tier of Arbon, magic unit defense and legion defense, right? Or this Dragon Rift, infantry unit attack, legion attack. So the bottom half of it benefits all troop types, but the top half does not, right? There are exceptions to this. Like, I'm sure I can find one. Maybe it's not this one over here. I thought there were some legendary artifact exceptions that were like defense and defense. In fact, if I go all the way to the tavern over here and I go to the artifacts, I'm pretty sure there is a defense item, and we can find it together. Let's see here. Is it not Kingslayer? Not the Phoenix Eye? It's not Staff of the Prophet. Where is it? I could have swore there was one. Here it is. Fang of Ashkari. So Fang of Ashkari would be a decent-ish backup because, like, hey, it's Legion defense and Legion defense. So if you didn't have the Deepwood Symphony and you had a Fang of Ashkari, this could double for a city defense situation, but, you know, you don't get activated abilities when you're defending your city. That's the secret to sort of artifacts. That's true when you're rallying as well, which is why I feel like Bloodblade Banner could actually be pretty good. I mean, I've heard it downplayed, but now I'm confused as to why. It seems like it would actually be very good. But rallying is not something you do all that much in this game. And quad rallying a city is certainly something that we won't be doing anytime soon, certainly not against such a high-power player. So what did we learn from this exercise, everybody? If you're going to rally a high-power player, you probably want a tank rally. That tank rally should be infantry. And you almost certainly don't want them to be online. They need to have a bad garrison set up. Otherwise, oh my God, you're just going to get dunked, okay? If you enjoyed the video, do me a huge favor, throw a like on here, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to see the fighting that took place, which included cities getting zeroed and a ton of crazy battles, I'll have 2 cards in the end screen where I streamed a bunch of that fighting. I think you'll really enjoy it. And subscribe if you haven't already for more of this crazy stuff, man. Wow, what a crazy set of rallies.